Hey guys, Ian through the Rad Company, and welcome to sunny Florida, where today I'm giving you a tour of my new garage.
So you're going to give us a full tour
A full
of
tour
my garage.
of your garage.
Okay.
I think I can do a pretty good job. So starting off here, this right here is a cabinet, and you can put stuff in it. You can put, you know, water softening stuff. Actually, I don't know what this is. So I'm just going to have you tell me what this is.
So this is like the crown jewel of the garage, not available yet. OG spec wand and gun, you guys have one of those. Yep. And prior hose bib, so we have water coming in. This is my on-off, basically bypass or on-off. I have it in bypass mode. And so we have TDS, it tells us what our TDS is, incoming and outgoing. Okay. And then I have Krenzlas in, I guess it would be in parallel. So the dual Krenzlas are basically pushing the water together at the same time. So the advantage of this is I get double the flow, but the same pressure. So one thing you could do is just buy a big, like heavier duty, 240 volt pressure washer, and you can get the same flow, but then you're gonna have a lot more inline pressure. And so this has less pressure, more flow, and it just makes, we're gonna do a wash and talk after this, makes a great experience. And so I can turn one on, one off if I wanted to just use one at a time. And then you like this, I think this is pretty cool. So we now have a swiveling hose reel. So when I'm out in the driveway, I can kind of angle it to the direction I need and pull it out instead of walking it out this way and then going out. It just affords me the ability to swivel. It's dual purpose because this is how I take the cartridge out. So the cartridge would come out this way as well for resin replacement. Okay. Yeah, so we expect this to launch sometime this year, hopefully sooner rather than later. Theoretically should do, I don't know, 600-700 gallons of water, something like that at the TDS that I have. And then easy replacement. And then we're going to develop other more sophisticated filtration like high flow, reverse osmosis, stuff like that.
So it's like a double the flow, double the fun, double that.
But for like most people,
spearmint bubble gum.
For your garage, like you do this, just buy this section. And then it makes it way easier because it's going to come on a pallet, you stick it on the wall, and you're done. Instead of having to cut drywall and block out your framing and then repair the drywall and do all kinds of extra work. You got a hose bib somewhere nearby, you can plug it right in and you're good to go. And the advantage for, like let's say you're a professional detailer, you can pass more water spot free, and then if one of these failed, I turn the valve and I could be operating. Or if I wanted to send one into service, or one's out of, you know, getting serviced. The redundancy helps, you know, if you're a professional and you didn't want to be down, versus having just one big, you know, machine. So I think I would rather have, and it's cheaper to do two lower cost than like a big, you know, 3 horsepower, 4 horsepower single pressure washer.
You're not selling me on it, but I'm sure there's a lot of people here that are probably like, dang, that's pretty nice.
Well, but you could put an AR on here, save $1,000. You could put an active would save $1,000, or you could do an AR, save, you know, $600-700.
So let's just say
work for all that.
Entry level. You want to get an AR, you want to get let's just say you do the active, right? Yep. You do an active on this shelf with a okay hose, maybe not the best in class, but a decent hose with this thing and the filter with just one of these.
I don't know yet, I haven't priced it out yet. I think this
like,
here,
is it the price of a used Honda Civic, or are we
no,
talking
I think
like,
this here, like with a single Krenzla, is probably gonna be somewhere around $4 grand. Right now it's about $3,700 without this cool cabinet. This is my guess. I haven't added it up. We still have to figure out all the parts and pieces. But so if you had an active take, you know, you take $1,000 off of that. So it's still quite expensive. And then these are the new OG shelves. No, this is slat wall. This is
talk about the wall.
So I've always been adamantly against, I just don't like stuff on my wall if I can help it. But there is some serious function to slat wall. And so this is from ProSlat out of Canada. This is the gray version of their slat wall. They also make it in aluminum, carbon fiber, a wood look. So they make it in a bunch of different versions. I wanted it gray because that's kind of my thing on the wall. So I wanted to match my normal Harbor gray. And then we developed a bracket for our own. So these are OG shelves coming to the store, I think, next week. They'll launch for Inside the Hex. We make them in, so these are the 50-inch version. We'll make them in 18, 24, 32, 36, 50, and then eventually probably more sizes. This is the bracketed version. We're also going to make a floating shelf version as well, and we're going to make them in stainless T304, T316, Those will be quite a bit more expensive, but these are a black powder coated to match that sort of Sonic MSS Plus look.
So give me a rundown. So basically it's a modular wall, right?
Each slat installed separately. So there's a metal piece in here that gives it the rigidity. The plastic is just for show. And so on each section, basically right here,
there's a bracket.
And this is a block wall, so Mike Tapcon each piece in. And so you buy it in 4x8 sections.
So it comes in big boxes?
Yeah, but it comes in a big long box about this big and whatever, 8 feet long, and usually comes freight. And then then we cut it to fit. So this is close to a full section. So the TV section there is a full 8-foot section.
So you could do full garage. You could do one wall. You could do a small section,
right?
Or
to
whatever
hang
it
your
is.
rakes, and I'll show you my hallway in the back here, where I actually have stuff hanging on it. But in this case, we hung our shelves. The nice thing about this, I've already moved these shelves 3 times to get them to where I wanted them. Whereas if you're mounting this to your wall, you got one shot.
You got one shot, and then you got a bunch of holes in your wall. So what is, like, give or take, you've done, call it like 2 walls, right? So what's like a cost?
I think it's like $200 per 48 square foot section. Okay. So I got a lot in here, because I did the whole sidewall and the whole, back wall. So what I probably have a couple, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 worth of $3,000 worth of slat wall.
Okay. And is this something that's pretty? I've never seen. I mean, I've seen small stuff that you see at like like Home Depot, the Rubbermaid sections where it's like some small, but I haven't seen full walls like this before. So is this something that's super common or popular? A lot of people.
I think a lot of people will do a single wall. So like if they would do this entire wall and they'd hang their rakes and all their different stuff, their sports equipment. They make shelves. They make all kinds of stuff. Their shelves aren't very good, and so we made our own. But they make all kinds of accessories. I'll show you in the back here. It's a neat addition to the garage. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of it because I don't like stuff on my walls if I can help it. I want it, want it minimalist. Now I've had to make some concessions here because I can't have a shed at this house, so I had to hang my bikes on the wall. But I think it turned out all right. And if I could do it again on this wall, I would probably do a backsplash again, like tile backsplash. But that's considerably more difficult and more expensive than doing something like this.
Okay. Now, really quick, let's just talk about the bottles for a second here. So this is the fixed, non-janky bottle.
Correct. So to remind people, Rag Company, followers and fans, I found these bottles. A follower of mine found these in, I don't know, somewhere in Europe. And so I bought 3 of them. I bought them from like Netherlands, eBay or something like that. I paid $300 for 3 bottles to get them here. And it was some version of this. And then I wanted to figure out a pathway to get it here to the U.S. And so I bought a container full, and then I asked all the followers, say, "Hey, look, I don't know if these things are even going to work, but you don't have to pay $300. You can pay $12 or $15 for them, but no warranties." No, I put it in red letters. Don't buy these if you don't want to help beta test them. And we found basically everything was wrong. So these blue ones, the bottles will panel with certain products like Tarex. The heads will, get ruined by high alkaline things like Brake Buster. The tips would split. The tubes would fall off. And so we've worked with Pressall over the last.
That's like the whole sprayer, man.
Right,
that's everything. You've done it all.
But it's like 20%. Okay. And so which is a high failure rate. Yeah. And so now we have fluorinated bottles, so products like Tarex won't seep through it. Yeah. We have a fixed head with new seals, and so we've had Brake Buster sitting in it for a year now, and it still hasn't failed. We now have stainless tips, better atomization. We also have a silicone tube. Right, and so you have a silicone tube with springs to hold it in place. Because when you do things like a bead maker, OG drying aid, stuff like that, that's slick, it would make this be slick and the tube would fall off. And so now we have labels with different adhesive, because we would get kind of air bubbles over time from the product seeping through the bottle. But now we have, I think, the best bottle in the world.
It looks pretty cool. It does.
And so what I really wanted was to have all the different products in different, in the matching bottle with a matching label. Yeah. And so I only have 2, and so the rest are coming. so that's one of the old ones. These are all the old ones. So the container should ship, I think, like February 15th. We should have it March 15th, and it'll be the first one. And then after that, the second container will be squeeze bottles. So the squeezy version, that are LDPE. So kind of like a neoprene bottle. And so these will be coming next. We got to figure out how to put a label on them. We're probably gonna have to screen print them. And then the final would be a gallon with the same kind of press-all look. We have some really cool gallon prototypes. Actually, kind of ones that look like my gas cans. They're gonna have some real cool European setup where they're stackable.
Edges to it, some dimension to the bottles, okay.
Yeah, and so they're gonna be, I think they're gonna be like $19.50 each, or $17.50 for a 500 milliliter. So they're gonna be really expensive, but it's one of those things that you're probably going to get a couple of years out of them versus a couple of months out of like a free, or cheap bottle that comes with your stuff.
Cool, dig it. Okay, so then this wall, you did add a mini split.
Yep. So this is a dual head mini split. I have one in the hallway because actually this wall wasn't here. But I need, for my setup, I need a wall to put my cabinets, and so I actually sacrificed about 6 feet of the garage because the back wall was kind of all disjointed, and I needed a big solid wall. And so we actually made a mudroom in between the house and the garage. And so there's a condenser outside that then serves this mini split. I think this is a 24,000 BTU, and then there's a 18,000 BTU in the whatever.
And you added the store. This is a door you added.
Yeah, Mike cut the wall, put the door in. Because when you air condition your garage, you don't want to open the door up every single time you want to go in and out. Yeah. And so the other nice thing, because it's 24.5 feet deep, you can see my cars only come to here. And so we still have some decent ingress, egress, whatever you would say. So, my car's going to come to here, and so I'm able to walk in and out. And actually, we'll probably end up keeping a golf cart here instead of a car anyway. So. Plenty of room to get in.
Well, I mean, as you should in the villages, right? A modified golf cart of some sort. Yeah. Have you ever done a golf cart build?
No, but I'm going to. Yeah. The problem with golf carts is they're all
excited about that.
They're all kind of junky, like the.
Yeah. Oh, so that's why I'm saying. The business expands, right? You help people with their garages. Yeah. You help people with their golf carts. I've seen the golf carts around here, Matt. They're pretty gaudy. They're pretty bad, right?
Yeah, they're not good. Yeah.
If you taught people, right, cleanliness and OEM plus look, shoot, I could even help people out with that, right? I say, hey, I like to visualize this to be like, what makes a golf cart even better, right? Better wheels, forged, do some type of process on the wheels. Do some decent tires on there.
Coilovers, front and rear.
Coilovers, front and rear, right? Maybe do like some type of like front splitter or something like very tasteful carbon fiber rear.
The problem is I'm gonna have to make it. We're gonna have to actually manufacture it.
I'm willing to go all in with you, Matt.
Okay.
Let's do it.
We'll
Our new golf cart business. Let's talk about the ceiling really quick. So, like you said, garage door opener was once here. That's been pulled out, right? So you did the, what do you call it?
LiftMaster. I forget the new model, but it used to be called the LiftMaster 8500. Okay. Now it's some longer model number.
Okay. And then lighting.
Yep.
Going. So why do you like going this way versus going this way?
It just depends. The reason why I did it this way is because where the original lights were, plus my trusses run this way. So if I want to go front to back, if the trusses are running left to right, I got to cut the drywall. And so out of install cost, convenience, my electrician was able to do it in a day rather than a week. And then I had to fix all the drywall. And so it just depends on the garage. My last garage, I was able to run it, this way. And so I had a row over my countertop that ran left to right and then front to back on the rest of the garage. This one it made more sense to set it up this way. But these are Cree LS, the same thing we did in Rag Company HQ. There are 9 8-footers and 3 4-footers so the 8-footers are 12,000 lumen each. They're 5,000 Kelvin. And then these are the 90 CRI version, like same thing we have in your place, which helps with eye fatigue, color accuracy, and if you're a detailer, you want that accuracy. I also want to be able to turn it up bright like this and not be fatigued. Yeah. And I think they're $355 a piece for an 8-footer, and then these are 0 to 10 volt controlled, so you need a Lutron box. It's called a PAL pack. Mine are in the attic, but the POW pack is a little box that gives you that dimmability, so I can dim them all the way down to, I think, 1%. And then this is something you would buy, and if you're forever home. So we have the whole lighting system. What did I say? $3,500, $4,000. It's a lot of money for lights. But I think I would rather sacrifice on my cabinets and my flooring and do that later and really get great lighting, especially if you're a detailer.
Do you want to go cabinets next, or do you want to go back behind here next?
Whatever you want, you're in charge.
Okay, I'm running this show. This is my garage now. So we're going in the back here because you guys got to appreciate the size and what he did with the space.
So we put tile in here. So this is our porcelain tile. These are, so we have one last section to build. Mike's building it right now, but these are nature cast cabinets. So these are a composite. I probably shouldn't have done white. I guess my kids are going to destroy it, but we'll see how it goes. And so the idea, the concept is I wanted to get the, the junk drawer you have in the kitchen, you throw your keys. Yeah. And so this will be that area where we have like the just pencils and pens, and the homework gets dropped. Scissors. Book bags, backpacks get dropped. So this here is going to be that mudroom looking, I think we have a picture of it somewhere here. But so there's gonna be cabinets above. So Kate will have one, Ryan will have one, Michelle will have one. I figure since I got the whole garage, I don't need a cubby, right? And so this section here, so this was part of the garage. But here you see my problem. I only had this little section here to put cabinets, and then the door to the house. And then this was actually, this wall wasn't here. This was a little bump out. So this bumped in. So we built a closet. Yeah. And so you can see where we did slat wall in here. So this will be the kids' sports closet where we have fishing poles and pickleball, bullcrap. I do not play pickleball, so don't judge me. I refuse. I will never play it. But like basketballs and Ryan's football gear and all that stuff will get dropped into that room. Yeah. And then we had, this was the awkward section, which actually I think turned out great. So this is a tiny little 30-inch wide hallway. We put a door on this. And so this is where I'm actually utilizing the slat wall. So you got my little gorilla ladder, my skateboard, my surface cleaner or my undercarriage cleaner. I keep my tripod and my bike mounts back here. And then I keep a little ladder so I can, jump on a little ladder and go up and... I'm upping. Yeah. Now, Jimmy, go over there, go next to Matt and turn around. I want to show you guys something. So in the video, especially if you watch Matt's videos, you see this little closet thing he built and you go, oh, this is a tiny little closet, right? It's not that tiny. I know on camera this looks smaller than probably what it is. Well, it's only 30 inches wide, 32 inches wide.
I know, but look. I mean, it's not like I'm cramped. I can, I can still reach there, but I still have tons of room. So it's kind of that perfect amount of space. It's a lot of headroom. And you have
10 feet high, yep.
So it doesn't feel cramped. In the video, it feels like maybe this was something, but really just right on the other side of this are the cabinets.
Yep.
And then this was the old...
That was the old wall,
This is the old wall.
So I could have put a little cabinet array right there. Yeah. But then it turns, and then turns, and then turns out, and then the door to the house. This is where the air handler was, which is now a giant closet. So this is 30 inches, 35 inches deep by 8 feet wide. So I took the air handler that was in here and I put it in the attic. And so the air handler is no longer in here. So what I have in here is my air compressor. Right now, Mike has all his tools because we're doing a lot of construction. So, Jimmy, if you can sneak back here.
We'll get Jimmy back in there.
So I've got my air compressor in here. And then what I'm going to do here, so I've got some Russo shelving, but I'm going to have a Russo cabinet where I keep all my nuts and bolts and all that stuff nice and organized. And so this will be where I keep my car jacks and my, my oil change equipment and all that stuff. So that'll go back in here so I can keep it out of the way. So this is the utility closet, the paint for the house, all that stuff. But we air conditioned it, so I'm going to repair the drywall there. But we put air conditioning vents in here, and then you see the mini split in the hallway. So because this wasn't conditioned, this was part of the garage. Well, now it's conditioned. I added a bunch of light in here. These are Cree CR troffers, and this is a good different color temp in here. This is 3,500 Kelvin. So I really like this room. I mean, it's a good landing spot for again, not a small house, but not as big as what I'm used to. We're in this little cookie cutter community because my kids are going to school 100 yards away. It's like Pleasantville here, where they're able to go run around. It's pretty cool.
I think it's probably the best because, we always want a bigger garage. We always want more garage space, right? Truthfully, though, because of the way this would have been laid out here and how this would have been done, that would have been really probably hard if you were to put cabinets or just really kind of build it out. You'd have the space for a lot of different things, but I think this is probably the best use while still having a considerably large garage.
If I could only get 22 feet or whatever, I wouldn't have done it. But I got 24.5 feet still, even with this 6-foot section. And so, yeah, if I was trying to maximize storage, but then I would have had a little cabinet array, a little cabinet array, and a little cabinet array, and it just, you know, it doesn't suit the OG style.
How long, so realistically, if somebody were to ever consider doing like the same kind of thing, price-wise, and how long did this take to do?
I would guess the wall would probably cost about 10 grand to have you know, a contractor come and do it. The door probably would have cost another 10 grand, right, to do. The air conditioner would have cost about 10 grand. Now I have Mike, so I don't know what it costs because Mike did it all. You know, and I hired Alberto, who's our buddy, who came and did the air conditioning, and he charged me, I don't know, maybe $3,000 or $4,000 to move it. But I paid about 10 grand to move it in the Harbor Hills house to the, you know, the air conditioning company. And so the other thing we added back in here for storage is the attic access. So my bonus room, so the bonus room is 12 feet wide, so right in the middle of the garage here is 12 feet wide. And so I have storage on the other, you know, whatever, 10 feet on each side. Right? And so we put an attic ladder in here, so now I can get to my air handle, which is up in there. And then this whole section we added attic, you know, flooring. So we added sheeting, you know, plywood sheeting on, and so there's 2 sections that run down here to put like my speaker boxes and stuff that I don't use very often. Christmas trees up there, and so I wanted to do remember my motorized stairs in my last garage?
Yeah, the magic thing.
Because of the bonus room, it's double studded, and so I only have 20 inches of room, and so we had to do this tiny little attic stair. But what I do is, so I couldn't do the motorized one, but what I do is I take my little stick, and I pull it down, and then I have access to the attic up there.
Sweet. And you still have plenty of clearance. I mean, it clears everything, right?
Yep, everything clears, nice and
sweet.
Nicely located.
Yeah. I need that. I'm tired.
So, you know, this cost a lot to get to the garage to function the way you want. Doing jack shaft openers, you know, getting the lighting right, putting the mini split in. I sold my house for 2.5 times what this house cost me. And so I was able to, you know, kind of do, plus this is what I do. You know, I design and sell garages, and everybody stops and looks, you know, and wants to see what the heck's going on here.
I'm taking credit for that. We've had several people stop, you know, drive by, they slow down, they go, "Hey man, nice cars, nice house," and I go, "Thank you. They're mine. This is all mine." So thank you guys very much. So it's really funny.
But this is also, for the time being, until I get the design studio built down the street, this is where I'm going to make all my videos. This is my studio.
Oh, 100%. So this is your place. So before we'll get to the cabinets here in just a minute. This probably stresses people out, stresses me out, but what's the deal with the bike racks?
So these are steady racks. They're supposed to be mounted down low. I prefer to mount them up high. All these bikes are pretty light, and so what I do is just kind of loosen it, and then I grab it and take it like this.
Oh my gosh, my heart.
Boom. Okay. Pretty easy,
Is this really that light?
This one is like 20 pounds, 23 pounds, something like that.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's pretty light. That's pretty light. So these steady racks just bolt straight. You can go straight into a stud or straight into concrete, whatever you're doing.
Yep. And so then I take and I space them. The reason I have them spaced apart is so I can take it and push it all the way over. Right, and I keep my helmet here. And I actually I mean, these bikes, I'm embarrassed to tell you how much money I spent on all these bikes,
No, I already know. It's probably like the cost of like a house. Maybe not the cost of a house.
It's the cost of a new Civic, you know, Type R, you know, between these 4 bikes. Check this one out. This one's sick. So I bought this one for around here. This is a gravel bike. Feel this sucker.
No way. That's crazy.
It's sick.
That's crazy.
Just shy of 16 pounds, yeah.
So that's very nice.
So the Yeti in the high tower on the right, I don't get out very much, and so these other 2 I can pretty easily access. They're not super heavy, and so when people get nervous, you know, what I could do is I could always just take the car out, but I can pretty easily get them out. And so the steady racks, they're like $80 a piece.
That's affordable. That's affordable. That's way affordable. And then they can garage, shed, wherever the heck you want to throw them, you throw them somewhere like that, right?
You could also, slat wall has some mounts, but they're not as good as the steady racks. And so that's why I didn't do slat wall on this wall.
All right, let's start here. Let's start on the left side and start making our way through.
Yep. So these are Pro Slat, made in Canada. It's Pro Slat. This is their Luxe line, so it has these handles that I took a flyer on. I actually really like them. Okay. You know, they're polarizing. So there's your Rag Company cabinet. Well, the Rag Company with the Matt Mormon microfiber 3.0. So this is where I keep my tester products that haven't made the cut yet that I'm considering. So I just met with the Coach Chemi guys, so they gave me a bunch of stuff to consider. We're working on a film solution option, because we're going to be offering DIY PPF kits for the countertops, which I just installed.
These cabinets are nice though.
The doors are best in the game, man. But these are these are the entry level for Obsessed Garage. Not entry level for the world, but entry level for Obsessed Garage. Okay. They're really nice. They have Austrian drawer glides, so each drawer holds 440 pounds. They do 2 different versions. This is the Luxe version. If you don't like these big handles, they make a much more subtle handle in what they call Fusion. The doors are great. The cabinets are decent. The fit and finish is great. You can get them in really whatever color you want for a few $100 upcharge. I want to say this array, this is a really big array. It's like 30 feet or 27 feet. I want to say this is probably around 17,000, 18,000. Okay. You know, so most people they're gonna do half of this. So 10,000 bucks or so for a pretty awesome set of cabinets. And so then this here that's what most people's drawers look like.
Okay, I won't open that one.
Hey, you gotta show them this. This is for real. So this is something I'll be working on. So this is what most people's drawers look like, but this is what we're aspiring to get to. Right? So we want to have our drawers organized like so. And so that's my next, like tomorrow, I'm going to be tool gridding and gridding that out. So this is the Mantis tool grid system, modular. You buy it in little 6-inch squares. Mm-hmm. You take the 6-inch squares and then you take the pieces and you start laying it out and organizing it. Yeah. I just did this when you guys were here last night. So I finished this drawer up before you left. So with all my vacuum accessories and my air accessories.
What's that? Oh, look at that, right?
Yeah, look at that. It's got a new spot.
Rag Company YouTube channel, check that out. Yeah, we may have made the cut there. So it all kind of fits in there. And then, so let's just we'll talk about this, because everybody's going to be like, Matt has 1,000 tools. He's never going to use it. He's not a real mechanic. He doesn't use any of his stuff. So you have a ton of tools, you're into tools, you like tools, I like tools. Yeah. I have a lot of tools I don't use as well, right? But the thing is a lot of this stuff, I was going through here, most of the stuff has marks on it, most of the stuff has, like, not marks, but
a lot of these are brand new, because I just sold my Sonic, foam inlay system to do this custom setup.
But what I'm saying is that you're using some of this stuff.
We're gonna do the suspension and turbo. Yeah. I've got leaf springs sitting right there for the Raptor I'm gonna put on. I've got a bunch of stuff. I gotta do my Dundon exhaust on my GT3. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna do that all here. That's why you can see my floor jacks are used. Yeah. Now these, again, this is brand new. So I just bought this stuff when I moved in here. Yeah. But my Sonic stuff had gotten, quite a bit of use. Now, there's a lot of redundancy in here. So what I'm building is the ultimate. Mm-hmm. What would you want? No budget restrictions in like a perfect world. Yeah. And then from there, what we're doing is we're building an essentials kit. So the essentials would only be 10 screwdrivers, right? You don't need the VDE type, the voltage type. You don't need, there's some redundancy here. You don't need the stainless steel ones. So you don't need all of this stuff. Yeah. But I mean, you don't use tools every day too, and don't you want this?
Do you want this? I do want this.
This drawer actually isn't that much. I think this is probably less than maybe with the tool grid, probably around $1,200 bucks, $1,000 for everything in this drawer. So my intention is to be able to, like Legos, you have a little catalog where you flip open, it says step 1, do this, step 2, do that. So what I'm hoping to do is build a Lego catalog to show people, here's how I would suggest you put this together. Yeah. Because this is overwhelming. When you get a box of screwdrivers and a box of parts and pieces and a bunch of boards. Yep. Where do you start? Yep. I mean, I'm like born to do this. And so I understand it can be kind of complicated. but we're gonna send people this option to be able to set it up. I mean, I love having, like, instead of having T-handles, you have, T-handles, you have a T-handle, ratcheting T-handle.
With all your different accessories.
Right, which takes up a lot less space. If you had a T-handle with all these different individual tools, it would take up 5 drawers. Yep. But I'm making a choice. You could also do a quick release, screwdriver. So you could eliminate a lot of these, but I like to have a fixed screwdriver. And then, for example, the 900 series has the shaft you can hammer through. This is their standard, most used. You're going to use the Craftworks 300. And then these are just stainless, which you don't need, but they're really cool.
They look really nice.
So you wouldn't buy this unless you're balling, and so I wouldn't suggest it to everybody. And so this is a combination of German, Japanese, American tools from all over the place.
Pretty nuts, pretty
but this
crazy.
This drawer probably took me 20 hours.
Oh my God, Matt, 20 hours.
Yeah.
20 hours, don't tell
this
people
drawer, This drawer is
that.
about, 40 or 50 hours. See how I'm putting like all the little numbers on.
Yeah, I know, you see how you're putting the numbers on.
But I put on Heartland and I sit here and I watch TV.
It does take that long.
Yeah. But to get to this drawer is a lifetime.
Yeah.
Hundreds of hours to get what I have in this drawer.
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, it's crazy.
Both a lifetime of saving money,
Lifetime of labeling, so.
Yeah.
But it's legit. This is all your torque wrenches, right?
Stahlvilla. So this Stahlvilla, I bought one of every Stahlvilla torque wrench. I bought tons and tons of torque wrenches. Yeah. I got torque wrenches coming out of my ears all over the place. But these are my favorite. This is the 730N, which I think is the best torque wrench on the planet. They have digital ones, they have all kinds of crazy ones, but this is my favorite one. It's a quick release type. So I'm gonna organize this drawer this weekend, but I'm gonna have basically 2 drawers, and I'm kind of working out how everything is gonna.
The best, dude. If this thing, battery's dead?
No, just hold it.
This is the best
detailing tool ever made. Yep.
It is. It's amazing.
It's incredible.
I was asking the guys that when I was over at OGHQ earlier today, I'm like, am I forgetting? Do I need to buy something that I'm forgetting to buy? I should have just bought this. Right, Jimmy? Brought this back on the plane with me?
There's still time.
There's still time.
So I'm gonna have this all organized with my polishers, and then I'm gonna set this up with tool grid as well, get it all nice and organized.
No, looks legit.
So
okay.
as you can see, if each drawer takes you 10 hours to do, I'm working through one drawer at a time, and where like some drawers I have half done. I think I got enough Sharpies, Milwaukee markers.
Yeah.
But I've got this drawer half done, and I've got to finish these are great. It's my favorite Allen key, 8 tools out of Japan. Really cool.
I know, you were showing us this yesterday. I mean.
And actually, believe it or not,
excited.
I think the best ratcheting wrenches are gear wrench, which you can get at Walmart,
Yeah.
This is their 120 tooth version. And so the gear wrench I like the most is the super long one. This guy here, these are cool.
I know, that's pretty nice.
Yeah,
With the little swivel on it.
I think these are way better than the Snap-ons for like 1/50 amount of money.
Really? Okay.
Now, the Stahlvillas are crazy expensive. For me, it's not about expensive or cheap. It's just, I just want it to be great.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. And so these drawers hold 440 pounds. They have Austrian drawer glides. So same glides that a Lista cabinet would have, but the boxes are, 18 gauge. They're not 16 gauge or 14 gauge like
18 gauge
Lista.
would be the same as like a high-end
New Age. Like
New Age or whatever?
Right, New Age is best.
Okay.
And then stainless tops, and then we're developing a solution with our friends at Car Supply's Warehouse, optical films. And so we're doing PPF on the tops. Ideally, you would want to PPF it like the day you take the cellophane off. We've been doing a lot of work, and so I've got some scratches and stuff, but then it'll stay cleaner, less fingerprinty.
No, we PPF those Rousseau cabinets. It was the best thing we ever did.
Yeah, and then you can rip it off every couple of years and start over.
Yeah. So
TV's temporary. This is actually the first generation LG OLED that I've had like sitting around. But I think I'm gonna do the Samsung Q95D, which is the anti-glare OLED. And this is a 65. I'm gonna do probably an 85 in here. I don't get to watch TV in here as much as I would like because I'm on camera most of the time, but usually it's nighttime, 7, 8 p.m. I'm out here tinkering around. I like to watch something. Yeah. And then I've got Dynaudio Core 59s and then the Core subwoofer in the corner. And so I have all kinds of audio solutions that I'm in love with.
Yeah. So detailing stuff will vary. You'll have polishers, all of that. You have your towels, you have some of the chemicals, you have the most chemicals you do over there. This is gonna be your car guy stuff, right? WD-40, random towels, lubricants.
Some of this stuff is gonna go, like that I don't use very often, will go in that back Rousseau cabinet next to my air compressor. But the most used stuff will go here. That's my Milwaukee Closet. And so this is gonna be all utilitarian, like the Milwaukee stuff like this. Right, so all of my cutoff wheels and this drawer over here with the chaos is gonna get organized. I just ordered a bunch of Stabila levels, which I think are probably the best levels that exist. Okay. I'm working on hammers as well, so Osca and Thor hammers are my next chase.
What's the brand?
Osca. Osca out of Italy, and then Thor out of the UK. Okay. Thor is here, I think. So there's the Thor
I think I've had the same hammer since I was like 16 years old. And
so Thor will be like the dead blows and the rubber, handles and stuff. So, but I haven't gotten through these yet. Osca crowbars or. Yeah. So I still have to. I'm working on this right now to figure out what makes the cut, what goes in my cabinet, and then I got to figure out which cabinet it's going to go in. But this will be the Milwaukee setup, and then see, I've got like all the different cutoff wheels. This will all be organized with our,
This is a lot of cutoff wheels.
Too many.
This is way too many cutoff wheels.
Yeah, way too many.
And then this last cabinet, what's in this one?
That'll be my camera gear. This is also where my vacuum system is. My camera gear will go here. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it on the bottom. This will maybe just stay open, and for catch-all, I've got my steamer, my Dupre steamer, and then vacuum hose reel is in here, and on the side is where you turn it on. So I flip the switch right there.
That's
whistle's brutal.
Whistle's brutal, but it's pretty nice to have that all built into that shelf.
So I'm testing. You saw back in the room back there behind here. I'm testing like a tangential motor, like a double horsepower motor, and it has too much flow that it makes the hose when it's wound up whistle really violently, and so I would suggest. Don't do the 240, do the 15 amp version, OG vacuum hose. It gets me like 95% of the suction without any of the trade-off. And so, and I did all my home run, all my wiring comes to here for my speakers, and video. This garage I only did 2-channel. The last garage I did 5.1, but I don't need that. And then I have air and power over here. These are 50 foot, so that'll reach all the way out to like halfway down the driveway.
Sweet, and you'll pull everything out.
Yeah. So I think that's it.
I think we did it.
The goal is to keep everything out of the garage. You can see we did the Prevost sleeving. I wanted a water softening system, which is outside. The front door is behind this wall, but the main water line is right there. And so Mike bought 3-inch piping, Prevost piping, and we use that as a sleeve to run our PEX through. So we had to, run our line that way. But I will wash in the garage in the summer, when it's hot. And when it's nice outside, I'll wash in the driveway. I was able to extend the driveway 20 feet. So the driveway is 38 feet long. Normally the driveway is only 18 feet. Imagine that. Imagine how close to the road I would be.
So what do you mean you extend the driveway? Just when you guys built this house, that was just the plan,
right,
or what?
So when you cookie cutter buy the house, you have a few options. One was a 4-foot stretch on the garage. Mm-hmm. And that was the only option in this house. And then you can pick the wall colors and tile color and a couple of cabinet colors, but you can't do anything custom. And so they just implemented an option and said, you can extend the driveway now too. And I said, really? That's amazing. How much can I extend it? Yeah. She goes, I don't know. How much do you want? I said, I want as much as I can have. How about 50 feet? She said, well, I don't think you can have 50, but let's see what we can get you. Yeah. I don't want a pool, because the pool's right there. It's free. And so the community pool, and none of us are swimming. Yeah. So I pushed the house 20 feet back, and so I have a 38-foot long driveway instead of an 18-foot long driveway. And it only cost me like $6,000 or $8,000 to do that. I don't. Nice. Yeah, and so that way we can fit all our crap, and it's been chaos here for the last couple of months, but we're getting close to kind of finishing up all these major projects.
What's the future plans? What's next for the garage? What are you gonna do next?
The garage is done. All Mike has to do is just do some touch-ups on the baseboard. The jacks will get out of here, and so the biggest thing will be organizing that utility closet in the back, getting all my drawers finished, and that's about it for this garage. It's done, and now what's next is just come in here and make videos, play with stuff.
Enjoying it, using it.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Continue to test the detailing process and find new cool stuff. I mean, that's what I'm planning on doing. And kind of back to my roots. Of the last several years, I've been building the corporate infrastructure so that way I can go back to work, which is me playing in the garage, looking for cool stuff, ordering stuff, finding what's crap and what's good.
Nice. I'm excited for you. I'm happy for you because this feels pretty good for being a normie, right? I like it.
Yeah, I mean, if I could have built a $2 million house here, I would have. I would at least try to. I got a big mortgage and just make the payments. Yeah. But this actually feels really good. I mean, this house is paid for. Yeah. I sold my bigger house, and so it feels really good to just simplify. The next big project here is my outdoor kitchen. We'll finish that, and then the project after that is my dedicated home theater, my office theater upstairs. And then the next major project is I'm actually building a 12,000 square foot showroom a couple hundred yards up the street here. It's actually that way. And so that'll be a 54 by 28 foot deep, so 54 wide, 28 foot deep with clear garage doors, high-speed Ride-Tech garage doors on the front. And that's where I'm gonna shoot all my videos, and we're gonna end up doing installs and design here in the Villages area. And so people will fly in from wherever, to come and touch and feel everything and decide, do I want Rousseau? Do I want Sonic? Do I want Pro Slat? Do I want Swiss Tracks? I need to see it. I want to see what the Cree lights look like. So it's all going to be on display. And then I'll also justify it because I'll be doing all my videos and stuff there. Kind of like you guys have your studio. Yeah. I'm going to do the same thing. Kind of like what I had at the Yarn building that we've now, my big warehouse that I bought is going to have to be just a warehouse. Yep. It's just we have too much stuff we need to store, and so I'm going to do it front and center in the town square, which I think is going to be really cool.
Sweet, legit. So anyways, Matt, thank you so much for having us out here. I think, I don't know how long this video is, but hopefully you've all, whether you've fallen asleep or not, I'm trying to wake you up and say, hey, if you liked it, make sure to give us a big thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button, like it below. Subscribe down below for all of our future content. We have some more videos here with Matt. You can go to check out Obsessed Garage's channel. You can go to check out obsessedgarage.com for pretty much literally everything you see here. If you like what you see and you want some of this.
We also offer design service because this is complicated when you try to put this all together. Yeah. So go to the design section, or you can email design@obsessedgarage.com. We do 3D renders and do twin motion, like virtual reality walkthroughs of your garage before you do it. Make sure you pick the right color, put the outlet in the right spot, pick the right cabinets, make sure everything fits. Yeah. We did that for this garage where everything fit. Like as tight and close as that is to that door, everything has to be precise when you want it to fit properly.
No, I agree. It's amazing. So as always, if you guys enjoyed this stuff, thanks for watching. Subscribe down below, all the good stuff. And if you guys want to see more content with us in Obsessed Garage, then make sure to hit that subscribe button because we do have a wash vlog coming out that's going to be on their channel. It's going to be really fun as usual. So thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.